What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be on the new updated version of the REBUG Toolbox 02.03.02. This has been released for a little while now. This is specifically for REBUG custom firmwares, the REX and DREX versions, which is CEX and DEX. You're going to want to download this REBUG Toolbox so that way you can use the COBRA 8.1 or up to COBRA 8.1, so you can get that backwards compatibility available. What you're going to need is just a thumb drive and obviously your PS3 running custom firmware REBUG already. Pop in the flash drive here. And let's see, I don't need these, so I'm just going to delete those. Made the videos on those last night. So on the root of the USB drive, just copy this REBUG Toolbox PKG over, like so. And yes, the link will be below in the description. If you want to refer to updating your custom firmware to the latest version of REBUG 4.8, 4.2, I do have a video on it. And I just started putting everything in playlist on my channel as well. So you can see all my videos specifically on what you're looking for, whether it be PS3, PS Vita, PSP, hardware, software, whatever, programs. I'm working on dividing everything and getting things more organized on my channel. But yeah, so once you got that copied over to the root of your USB, we're just going to hop on over to the PlayStation 3 and install it, and I'll run you through everything that's in the REBUG Toolbox. Okay, so here we are at our PlayStation 3. If you haven't already, put your USB drive into one of the USB ports. If you're running REBUG firmware, you should have the packages manager, which is right up here. If you click X on that, what you're going to do is you're going to go down to install package files, hit X on that, and then go down to standard, and it's going to load up the root. Now, if you, the first time I noticed, the last time I opened this up, the first time I ever opened it up after updating my Multiman to 4.85, it listed the updates that Multiman has on their web section in here. So I don't know if it's not listing it this time, or if like you load up your Multiman and then exit to the Xmp and then you just look here and they're there. I don't know what that's about, but if you see that, I guess it's completely normal. But anyways, so here we have the REBUG Toolbox 2.03.02 multi .16 PKG. You're going to hit X on that to install it. And I already have the latest version installed, so I'm not going to install it myself, but you would just select yes there. And let's go take a gander at the REBUG Toolbox. So I'm just going to scroll down here to my tools, and REBUG Toolbox. And also, I just want to point out, go down to information real quick and open that up. You're going to see it says 2.02. I don't know why it doesn't show for the version the 2.03.02, but it's just the first number and it excludes the 0.03 in the middle and 0.02. So that is normal as well, just an FYI. But just hit X to boot this up and let's check it out. Alrighty, so now that the REBUG Toolbox is loaded, first and foremost we have the information of the system. Display information about your system, and if you click on that, it's going to show you everything, your level 2 kernels, target types, PS3 system firmware, yada yada yada. So that's that. Quit, obviously just quits and goes to the Xmp. You can choose your language, restart the system, boot other OS with level 1 patches, and then turn off the system directly from here. So those are the basic system settings. We go over to selector. We have the system mode, which is REBUG. You can also choose in between REBUG and normal. I would recommend using REBUG just because you want to be able to use your COBRA, obviously. Xmp Operation Mode is retail or debug. This adds debug settings to your main sections, your settings category on your Xmp, so you can access the settings that are within inside the toolbox without booting the toolbox, and a couple of extra things. The debug menu type, you have two choices here. If you're running DEX based custom firmware, which would be the DREX version, you would select DEX. If you're running the CEX version, which is just regular REX with a QA toggle, this is the one that you would want to select, and I have that selected. Toggle Xmp custom firmware settings, that's enabled. So there's a mod as well as a secondary menu that is out on the Xmp as well. And then toggle COBRA mode. You can either enable or disable. Moving on to level 1 patches. The only patch that you're really going to need to worry about as a standard user would probably be the level 1 peek and poke support. Just have that enabled, because everything else down here is basically for developers. And if you're a developer, I don't need to explain anything between these patches and whatnot. So I'm not even going to have to worry about that. DEX or CEX, the swap level 2 kernel, switch between retail and debug kernels. This is basically for when you want to swap from CEX based custom firmware to DEX based custom firmware. It's a lot easier to do now than it was back in the day, but like I said, if you're not a developer, don't really try this out of the blue, or you know, and if you want to learn how to do it, make sure you read up on it, because there's a lot to read into. Because what you're going to do is basically you're swapping level 2 kernels with a level 1 kernel, and then you're going to rewrite the target ID flash as DEX or CEX with a valid flash dump. So that's basically summing it up. And then last but not least, we have utilities. Utilities commencing of the toggle QA flag. This basically just lets you upgrade and downgrade as freely as you wish on CEX-based custom firmware. Toggle recovery mode. Enable or disable recovery mode on the next reboot. That is the recovery menu. You can access that with a button function on the PS3, and this just makes it easier. Load level 2 kernel. You're going to be using this for when you're swapping DEX and CEX. That's what that is for. Button assignment. This just basically changes button layouts or whatever you want to do. Backup restore X registry. That is the registry / database. You can back it up, and then if something goes wrong, you can restore it from here. But if something goes wrong, you're going to want to have this to a certain directory. I forgot which directory it is. I think it's it's the main root, the HDD root with recovery folder. You would want to have the package of the REBUG Toolbox in that directory, so that way you can boot the package and install it and run, and then back up and restore from your toolbox. That's how it would be. Resize the vFlash and NAND regions. It is what it says right there. Install petty boot, or petite boot, or whatever. That's pretty much the same kind of shit that you don't need to worry about. Fixes issues loading PS2 titles in other OS is installed. So that is only if you're running other OS. Create a packages folder on the dev HDDO, which you can just do manually. Export hypervisor level 1 memory. That's patches. Export game OS level 2 memory. That's also patches. Export flash to file. That's the flash of your system that you would export for swapping the DEX and CEX yet again, like I was saying. The dump EID root key. That is just like a security thing, so you can like rewrite the EID root key and spoof your EID root key. Load payload and kernel. That's the dev USB 000 payload.bin. This is something that you would download manually and install. And this is the active PS3 ID. Spoof IDPS in level 2 memory. So that would be that. Actually, I'm going to turn that on. Yeah. EID 5, I would recommend. There we go. And that's it. So, rate, comment, and subscribe. This is a little rundown of the REBUG Toolbox, the latest version. Like I said, most of you are just going to be using this for COBRA, but there is other options and stuff there as well. As you can see, there was something that I haven't even had done, and I just did it in the video. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Again, the link will be below in the description for download, rate, comment, and subscribe. I think I already said that again, but whatever. It can't hurt to say it multiple times. And stay tuned for more videos coming out. And yeah, check out the playlist if you want to check out the playlist that I'm working on. And, you know, see what interests you. Alrighty, we'll talk to you all later and enjoy.